results continue to be the NEET irregularities. Paper leak is one of the most concerning issues right now in the country. Also, I would like to put up some data. According to the data, around 41 documented instances of leak over the last 5 years have been recorded in the 15 states, which is very concerning. Also, to discuss what are their solutions, what a student right now needs to do, how this entire education system needs a change. We have with us the very esteemed guest today. We have petitioner Dinesh Jotwani sir, who is a senior Supreme Court lawyer. Sir, thank you so much for joining on NewsX. We also have Professor Neha Aghi, Deputy General Manager Academics at Q&I. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Also, we have Senior Advocate Rohit Jain. Sir, thank you so much. So let's begin with, sir, you have filed a petition. What all have you mentioned in that petition? And several proceedings have gone. What do you think that proceedings hold in the Supreme Court?
So mainly most of the petitions that have been filed, there is a prayer. Main prayer is to, of course, quash the results that have been declared. There seems to be a lot of malpractices there. In addition, we have asked for the stay, that counseling should be stayed. We have asked, there was if you remember, there was one question which had 2 correct answers. So we have asked even that answers, so everybody should be given same marks, or that that question should be removed. So that is one of the prayers that we have asked for. And of course, we've asked that NTA should completely, about the one, that I think is agreed, about the 1563 students where the grace marks were given. We have also asked what was the logic of grace mark, how do they arrive at 1563 figure. So that still is pending. I think July 8th, the Honorable Supreme Court will take some decision on that.
Also, sir, what needs to be done at this point of time? Do you think we need something which is more accountable and fair as far as conducting the exam is concerned?
Yeah, we need to wait till July 8th when the hearing takes place. And I would also suggest, meantime, NTA is doing what it needs to do to have another exam for the students who were given grace marks. We of course need to keep on petitioning the Ministry of Education and highlighting meantime the investigation. I hope so the investigation also gets complete by that time, and we should cooperate with students should cooperate with whatever questions or wherever they found any malpractices that took place, wherever there was a loss of time, wherever there was, say, a CCTV not coming up, the students can always highlight that to the Ministry of Education in a very calm manner, of course, I will say.
Okay, Mr. Rohit Jain, what do you think about the issues surfacing in Bihar? Several evidence have come from Bihar, Gujarat. So do you think it is only limited to these 2 states, or does it like nationwide?
Sure. So first of all, thank you, Arzu, for having me here. So I'll just take a step back. So when the results were announced, it's not that these issues were brought to light only after the results were announced. As a matter of fact, petitions had been filed even before the results were announced, alleging paper leak and other issues. So when the results were announced, the mathematicians and the teachers, they calculated and found out that the 719 and 718 is not possible mathematically as per the marking scheme, and that's when the question started being asked, and NTA came out with a clarification that actually some grace marks had been given. So it's not as if that the issue of grace marks had been disclosed in the first place, and which is why when the instance of grace marks got out, questions started being raised on other issues as well in a much more vocal manner. So our client, Mr. Alak Pandey, when we were discussing and these issues came up, and then our firm Singhania and Company filed the petition in the Supreme Court, The major issue was basically that how the whole thing has been done and the questions that it raises. Now, if you read about the last year's exams and the previous years, you would hear of such allegations and instances in the last years as well, that there were some paper leaks, some time losses, etc. Why this has become such a big issue this time is because of the way how the facts are being transpiring. Now, I mean, when you declare a result, don't mention about grace marks, and then when it is cross-questioned, then the grace marks are being declared. That has resulted in a lot of questions about how the exams have been conducted. So to be honest, it may so happen that genuinely just 1563 students have been given grace marks. Godhra, Patna are just allegations, there aren't any paper leaks. But because of the way things have transpired, people are now questioning everything, that whether even 1563 can even be believed. So that is the crux which we feel is in the matter. And as you asked about Patna and Godhra, see, these allegations are coming up. Now there are both sides to it. Couple of days back, Allahabad High Court found out that one of the allegations by a student was fraudulent, and the student had in fact forged the mark sheet or the OMR sheet to claim irregularity, whereas in actuality there was no irregularity. So that is what I believe is the issue, that the fundamental confidence perhaps has shaken, and the larger question is in fact to restore that confidence. So maybe there is much ado about nothing, and there aren't as many issues as are being talked about, but that fundamental confidence needs to be restored.
Also, Rohit sir, do you think that the NTA has lost its credibility because no suo motu cognizance they have taken, because only after when the students have reached out to the Supreme Court, then they have came out that the grace marks was given. Do you think the credibility has been lost?
So factually, the grace marks disclosure came in on 6th after the questions regarding 718 and 719 were being raised. So after that disclosure came in about 1563 students having been given grace marks. Students approached the Supreme Court questioning the basis and other questions around it. But students had been approaching, so when our matter got listed on 13th, it got listed along with a matter that had been filed on 1st June. The results were declared on 4th June. So that matter had been filed on 1st June alleging paper leak and other questions around the NEET exam. So there were matters that had been filed even before the results had been announced. So they are actually different bunches of petitions that are questioning different aspects, and since they are pertaining to this exam, the courts, to avoid multiplicity of litigation, is clubbing them and trying to hear them together so that a holistic result may be reached.
Also, Neha ma'am, you have been teaching a lot of students, NEET students. As also Kashish told us, their mental health is also compromising, that has been impacted. So what do you want to message you want to give to these students to cope up from all these irregularities or that they are going through right now?
All right, so for students, see, it's real world, accidents happen, and we have to learn how to cope up with these things. But definitely this particular incident is absolutely not acceptable. So broken trust should not lead to loss of trust from the system. Just have faith in the system. Keep your pace up and keep learning. So don't feel demotivated. I mean, it's a problem. All of us have to deal it with together.
Okay, ma'am. Also, sir, as you have been one of the petitioner, after these irregularities came to the fore, state have been started talking about bringing the law to restrict these paper leak. What law should be brought to stop this corruption that is taking place, this paper leak that is happening in a line?
So the law with respect to this has already been brought about by this government. The only thing is enforceability of it. We have seen some strict laws that came on the paper leak. Bihar has it, UP has it, many states have this law already passed. But at central level, if this kind of a mass cheating takes place, I think more important is the investigation part of it. The law exists even prior to this special law that we are talking about on cheating. But how does police investigate this? What are the things that they need to? Are they selective in doing so? What are the leads that they are getting? Is there an involvement of NTA itself? Is there an involvement of any politician? Now we are seeing some names of politicians also coming up. So more important for the government, not only this government but also for future, to see the investigation part of it. There is as ma'am just rightly pointed out, it's also a psychological problem that is happening on the students. So it's the whole community that needs to see and especially have trust among these students. They are young students who take these NEET exams. So not only the law but courts, the investigating agencies, the police force that is investigating, the intelligence, the cyber cell part of the police cell which will investigate how the paper was leaked, have to be strong. That is what we want. We always want that let there be any culprit, even in the ministry or in the government, that needs to be traced and punished.
So you talked about Bihar, UP, they have a law, but even after that there are several cases of paper leak in Uttar Pradesh, or we talk about Bihar. So do you think there is not a strict law that should be there, and that's why people are not afraid of it?
These are strict laws. The only why people are still doing is because there is no implementation, there is no proper investigation for it. Laws are there even in traditionally the states that do not have. You can use Prevention of Corruption Act to do it. Ultimately you are bribing somebody to get the papers. You can use all those laws, traditional laws also, but the problem is again investigation, and more problem is fairness of the investigation. If you see some senior people involved in it, some government officials involved in it, then action needs to be taken on that by the police, by the investigating agencies.
So laws are there, but implementation is what we need right now.
Right.
Okay. Rohit sir, according to you, how we can stop this corruption that is currently going on? What is the solution offered to stop this?
See, I think if we talk about the current NEET UG 24, I think two things we need to be mindful of. One is the time that we are losing out. If the counseling has to go ahead in its usual schedule, then we are actually left with very little time for whatever troubleshooting needs to be done, done now. Second, we need to understand that what exactly will, as ma'am said, sir said, the psychological issue that 24 lakh students, right? So you will have to do something that gives them that assurance, peace of mind that things have been fixed. Making ad hoc statements or saying that yes, things are being done may not really serve the purpose. So I think perhaps maybe the best solution would be to have an independent committee set up, probably under a Supreme Court judge or someone, so that if whatever NTA is claiming that only this much is the disruption or time loss and all things are okay, that independent committee can verify that, so that there is at least a peace of mind and a sort of confirmation in the minds of students that yes, it has been verified by an independent body and it's all fine. Also considering the time that we are staring at, maybe waiting for the court case to go on and come up to a conclusion may not really be time sensitive, considering that the next date of hearing is 8th July. And if the counseling has to happen in July, then perhaps some other alternative, such as setting up an independent committee and reviewing it, may be the solution.
What do you think, why the court is not stopping the counseling?
See, right now it's, if you look at it objectively, it's conjecture. If you look at it, from the Godhra, paper leak allegation, or Patna allegation, or other allegations that are coming up, they are not verified. If what we just saw a couple of days back, Allahabad High Court found that the allegation of OMR malpractice was actually wrong on the part of the student itself. So there is no confirmation as to any of these allegations yet. They are in the allegation stage, and court is taking cognizance of that, and that's why refraining from passing a stay on the counseling order, because perhaps it's premature at this stage. So I'm sure if something concrete gets established, court will definitely step in and pass a constructive order. But at this stage, objectively, it's premature.
Neha ma'am, students are running for the opportunities. So what do you think, what plans should be made to increase the number of medical seats right now in the country?
So number of medical seats, it's definitely, depends on the privatization of education, there are certain restrictions in terms of bringing in expertise from external world. So basically tie up with different colleges, train more and more faculties on that. Till we don't have faculties, we just can't give our students the opportunities, because otherwise there will be so much of gap between students and teacher ratio. So that is the major thing that government needs to keep a check on. And when it comes to these NTA things and whatever is happening, one of the suggestion to the NTA would be to use technology, use AI. We are living in the world of AI where everything can be randomized. So year on year we are looking at the exam leak and all that stuff. So that can be taken care of simply by randomizing the questions. Take skill-based test. Focus on skills, not on the questions. So that way that can be a longer solution for our students.
Also ma'am, according to you, in which cities should be all new AIIMS should be opened, because AIIMS are the institution that provide opportunities to the students,
right.
Medical students. So what do you think, in which cities that medical colleges should be open, AIIMS should be open?
In tier 2 and tier 3 cities majorly, because everywhere when we see private hospitals, it's a bigger business game altogether. Private hospitals are present in the cities where they can have more money, and economically the cities are good. So I believe in tier 3 cities, tier 2 cities, more and more AIIMS should be open.
Okay, my question to you is, Jotwani sir, legal recourse for these students who are fighting this battle against this scam and are stuck in between. So what legal recourse you want to recommend to these students, advice you want to give to these students?
So I will tell students, matter is pending before Honorable Supreme Court, and what they can do is, of course, if they have any concrete evidence of any malpractice or a cheating, they should highlight it to NTA itself. They are forming a committee. I know there is a committee being formed. So highlight that to the government authorities itself, that this is what the malpractice has taken place. They can also petition the government. They can file RTIs if they have a specific question on their own paper. They can file an RTI and find out why the grace marks are not given to them or given to them. But as a student, yes, I can see them. They are already in the media and seeking justice. So that thing they are already doing. But from legal recourse, I will advise them to, right now, Supreme Court is already seized off the cases, several cases that are there. They petition the NTA. They continue to petition the NTA, but with some concrete evidence, and it should be genuine. And I would request students, there are a lot of rumors that are going around, so at least they should talk about from a verifiable source. Either it should be the ministry or the Supreme Court website. There are a lot of WhatsApp messages that provoke students to do things that are not correct.
Also, sir, as a petitioner, what are you expecting at this point of time?
No, our main prayer is, of course, to investigate the complete thing. We need to get to the bottom of the things, what is happening. If there are 2 or 3 isolated incidents, perhaps the Honorable Supreme Court will say that, okay, these papers, they can repeat those papers in those centers itself. They can be very specific. But if it is a mass scale, maybe 5%, 10% of the students or 5 to 10% of the marks that were not given properly, then the Supreme Court would definitely come around and say, no, do the retest for the whole NEET exam. You remember in the last hearing on June 18, there was a hearing when the Honorable Judge mentioned, even if there is a 0.001% discrepancy that I found, NTA has to come on clean on it. So we are hopeful that.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.